Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm MK.
And I'm Courtney.
And Courtney. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm a little hungry.
Mm,
Um, but like otherwise I'm fine. Um, I had such a busy week that I like forgot what I did because there was so much happening. Um, I worked and then I worked some more. But
yeah,
we signed our second new songwriter this week on
yeah,
let's say Monday. Because I don't remember what day the actual email came in. Um,
fair.
so it's very exciting and they're so talented. They're such a genius. Um, they've written everything from hip hop to soundtrack sounds like wild, and they're good. Like all of them are good. The different like genres. So,
Yeah,
and they've gotten really good at finding people to like record their stuff, which is important. I've
nice.
just been like so musical, so musical. I did find out, unfortunately, that my new friends from Ireland are moving to Canada next week. They've been coming to the bar like every night because they work at a bar a block over. And they were like chatting. I was like, "How was today?" I'm like falling apart as a human, but I hope you're doing well, et cetera, et cetera. And they're
Yeah.
like, "Well, we're doing good, and we're just not talking about it really. We just started telling people today, but we're moving to Canada next week." And it's like, what? And I think about it, their visas are up now. They've been here a year, so
Right.
they're moving to Canada for a bit. I hope they come
Um,
back.
you talking about your friends from weird places in the city reminded me that I had something I was going to tell you, and then I just totally forgot because you make friends with all the weird backstage people of all the weird shows.
Sure.
Yeah, one of my really, really good friends that I've known since I was like in fifth grade. Like I did theater with him. He's just one of the most fabulous, fabulous human beings on the face of the planet. Just got hired to do hair for Some Like It Hot.
How
Yeah,
exciting!
yeah.
Can they
And I
get
was
me a
like,
ticket?
I don't know. I don't know about that.
That'd be
But
hilarious.
yeah, I was like, I don't even know if that's one of the ones that's near the bar. I don't think it is.
It is.
Oh,
I
it
mean,
is.
it's like 3 blocks over. It's on Broadway.
Yeah.
We're all like,
Yeah.
we're at 44th and 6th, so we're like in everything.
Yeah,
But I think
yeah.
it's on 45th.
Hmm. Okay.
But
But
yeah,
yeah. But I was
that's
like,
very exciting.
he posted like a few months ago that he got a job, but he couldn't talk about it yet. And I was like, oh my God, I hope it's one of the ones that goes to see Courtney.
I mean, they can still come see us because
Oh,
whoever works on
yeah,
Broadway gets a 20% discount. So like send him my way still.
fair. I will
Um,
do that.
yes. And I will befriend him. And then I will ask him for a ticket. But
Right. Beautiful. Um,
how are you otherwise?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm trying to think. Did I talk about Hadestown on the last podcast?
I don't
Not the
think
last one, but
so.
like on the last Stargate one we did. I thought I talked about it.
I think you vaguely talked about it because you did talk about it vaguely because I haven't seen it yet.
Right.
And so we didn't
So
like super talk about it. But yes, you did vaguely tell
I
me
think
about
that
it.
was honestly the last exciting part of my life.
You know,
No, I'm just fully entrenched in tech for my kiddos, Shrek Jr. But it's also like the end of a marking period and an open house, and like I don't have a brain right now.
I get that.
So,
I get
oh, I, I got an email yesterday from the theater with the invitation to the new season announcement because subscribers get to go to the little
that.
fancy
Yeah, yeah.
party, and the email said next season is guaranteed to be a thriller, and I was like, oh my God, we're getting the Michael Jackson musical.
You are, and it's so great. Oh my gosh.
And
Oh,
I obviously, like, despite the fact that I work there, I don't work high enough up to really get spoilers. Like I'll occasionally get like a word or two, but I don't actually get the season ahead of time.
That is so exciting.
But I saw that in the email and I was like, if we get the Michael Jackson musical, I obviously have to resubscribe. Like,
1,000. Oh my God, it is such a good show. The the setup is, I'm sure the setup will be slightly different, but the band is incredible. The actors were incredible. Dance, oh my, oh, the like set design, oh, it was so simple and so wonderful, like
yeah,
design wise.
yeah, yeah.
So I loved MJ the musical.
Unfortunately, that season announcement is on a Monday night because it's a theater and that's the only night that the theater's not booked
Mhm.
already.
Sure.
So we'll have to talk about that later.
Is it in the next 2 months?
Yeah, it's on April 3rd.
Yeah, we can't talk about that right now. I don't have it in my system because I don't
No.
know that we can record for the next like 7 years now.
Yeah,
Um,
no, we were like so good with Mondays for so long, and the last like 3 months we've been like, so about that,
about this other Monday.
right?
We'll figure it out.
It's
Like
fine. We
today
got
is
this.
Saturday before I go
Correct.
to my other job. So like
Correct.
we're doing well.
We're doing it. We're doing the best we can. It's fine. Um, but you know what helps when you're just doing the best you can?
You know, I do. I do.
Fantastic.
Inspiration.
Would you like to share some inspiration with us?
I would love nothing more.
Fantastic.
Start over, my darling. Be brave enough to find the life you want and courageous enough to chase it. Then start over and love yourself the way you were always meant to. Madeline Beck.
It's beautiful. I
Isn't
really love that.
it feels very apropos of us quitting all of our jobs and starting over. So, you
Yeah. Yeah.
here to
Well,
support you and myself.
yeah, in whatever weird path we end up taking.
Right. However, we end up wherever we go.
Speaking of weird paths that we might end up taking, what a segue. We're talking about Stargate SG-1, Season 3, Episode 6, Point of View. It was rated 8.4 stars, which is the highest for the season so far.
Which, like, is fair enough. I enjoyed it. Fair enough.
Right. I just also knocked my microphone
Yes.
so far off the desk. I
This
apologize.
whole world just collapsed.
Um, it came out on July 30th, 1999. The number one song was Genie in a Bottle by Christina
Yeah, it
Aguilera.
was. Ah, if I didn't know how music copyright worked, I'd be singing that right now. Ugh, such a jam. Such a jam.
The number one movie was Runaway Bride.
Also a great one. It's a
Right.
good time. Good
Yeah.
summer of 99.
Yeah. The number one book was the same that we've been talking about this year, Hannibal by Thomas Harris.
Forever and ever. Mhm.
Forever and ever. On this day, I really could not find a ton of things, but
Because
the
everyone
one,
was behaving and watching
right,
films and listening to music because all the good stuff was happening.
right. On this day, Joey King was born, like actually on this day in
Yeah,
1999 because she's a small baby child.
yeah.
Um, and The Blair Witch Project was released into theaters.
I was gonna say, I think I also said Joey King's birthday.
Yeah.
I
So
did.
yeah, you did because that's the same day as the Blair Witch Project came out.
Yeah.
So, which is why all of these songs and movies are familiar to you because we've just been talking about the summer of 99 for a month and a half now.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
As we like to do.
yes. Our director was Peter DeLuise. This episode actually had 4 story writers, which is not usual for Stargate. But the four story writers were our core four: Brad Wright, Jonathan Glassner, Robert C. Cooper, and Tor Alexander Valenza. So nobody knew. The editor was Richard Benwick. He is known for for editing Zachariah Farted.
I'm speechless.
Yeah, Mindstorm and Stargate. I could not find a single fact about him anywhere on the internet, including his age, his birth, like nothing. No information about him whatsoever. But he did edit 12 episodes of the show, and of the 12, this is the 11th. So he was the main film editor for like a huge chunk of season 2.
Yeah,
we just weren't talking about editing at that time.
Right.
So and in terms of guest stars, absolutely not a single human being with a name. Like there was like Jaffa number 2 we hadn't talked about, but not a single named human being in this episode was not already discussed. So
Yeah.
I have nothing to talk about there.
Excellent. That tracks.
Because we do have like guest characters. But since our guest characters are just our all regular characters already,
right,
we're good.
Yeah.
It
is what it is. It happens.
It is, yeah. And on this show, it happens more than others. Because this is what our fourth episode where we're dealing with alternate versions of the same people. Maybe fifth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we had
been a couple.
Yeah, we had the one with the alien that took over Jack's kid.
Yeah.
We had the one where they went back in
the
time.
First one.
Yeah, we had the one where they went back in time. We had the other alternate universe episode. We had the one where it wasn't an alternate, the Michello episode, because the guest star was just also Michael Shanks. Like,
right.
So that's just a thing. In the like 45 episodes of the show, 5 of them so far have been like, here's the same characters, but different.
Right. They're all the same, but different.
Also, the Gamekeeper, with going back in time on that one too. Literally, this whole show is just like the same characters over and over and over again.
And a time capsule that they just toss around into universes.
Yeah. So we start the episode in Area 51 at a warehouse of like the Stargate tech. All the alien tech is there. Mm-hmm. And the alternate reality mirror opens, and Sam and Kowalski come through it because their world is like being attacked on the inside.
Right. So like Kowalski's going to be in like 75 more episodes, I think. Like he just keeps coming back and I don't understand. Like, and don't get me wrong. I love Kowalski. Glad he's there. But
yeah, remember after he died in episode 2 of season 1, I was like, don't worry, he's dead, but
yeah. You're like, I super remember this guy. I was like, okay, that's a really like bold choice for someone who's only in 2 episodes. And now he's not been in just 2 episodes.
Correct. That's why.
But good for him and his recurring character role.
Yes.
Really nailed that one.
Yes. Also, the weird thing about Sam and Kowalski coming through that you notice immediately is that Sam is in the most 90s sweater I've ever seen, and her hair is very long and like pretty.
Yeah.
In like a 90s, like Jennifer Aniston kind of pretty, but like still long and pretty.
Right.
And you're like, that's weird.
It's not Sam?
No. So they trip a wire in the warehouse and get swarmed. And when the guards surround them, they're like, I'm Dr. Samantha Carter, and this is Major Kowalski of the SGA. Like, we need to see your leader. And the thing is, it's not called the SGA.
No,
No.
called SGC.
Yeah. And that's where the credits come in.
It was also a longer episode.
Was it?
It was 53 minutes, it said.
Weird. I watched it on. Did you? If you watch, oh, it says 53 minutes on Pluto because it includes the commercial time.
Oh, I just noticed that. That's fine.
Yes, because I was gonna say because I watched it on DVD, so it was like that's not
Yeah,
accurate. But no, I started watching it yesterday on Pluto, and yes, it says 53, but it includes the commercial time.
got it. Got it.
Yes. So after the credits, Jack gets called into the infirmary and he clearly was like not on base. He's like wearing his like civilian clothes and he was like, could somebody explain to me what the emergency is? And he walks in and Sam is in the bed, so he's immediately concerned, but also then he's more concerned because that is not what Sam looks like.
Right. Right. I thought, like, when we first started the episode, I thought surely I'd click on the wrong season because Sam's hair was wrong. And I was like, I don't know what's happening now. And then it took me way too long to wrap my head around what was happening.
Well, because if you didn't immediately remember the alternate reality mirror,
Right.
that's weird.
Which obviously I did not. I don't immediately remember anything. So,
Fair. But then you get the the first indication that something is wrong with this Sam is the clothes. The second indication is that she immediately calls him Jack and not Colonel. And
yeah.
that is icky feeling. You're like, what?
You're like, no, that's not how that goes.
And then she just like gets like really sad about him being there. And she's like, I never anticipated a version of reality where you were here. And it's very confusing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's like, I just didn't think you'd be alive. And he was like, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? And then Kowalski just pops out from around the corner and is like, don't worry, everybody's saying the same thing to me. And Jack is just like, what is happening?
I also was feeling that way, Jack. Like I thought that was so funny though. And Kowalski's like, yeah, me too. Me too.
Don't feel bad. And there's like very clearly an indication that Sam and Jack had a very different relationship in her reality than they do
Yeah,
here. And we can assume what it is.
of course. And also like this episode shows how good of an actress Sam is
Oh,
because
Amanda
those are
Tapping.
completely different characters. Those
Yes.
are those are not the same people.
Oh no, Amanda Tapping is
Incredible.
amazing. Yeah. Um, so they try to explain um how they got there and like what happened in the alternate reality mirror and everything. And they're like, Jack's like, you mean that thing that Daniel fucked around with on 233? And
Right.
they're like, who's Daniel? Which only makes sense because if Sam is the civilian scientist on the project, they don't in that universe, they don't need a Daniel Jackson. But
Well,
also, can
also
you
in the alternate universe we went to before, Daniel Jackson was dead and he had just been an archaeologist out in the wild. He wasn't part of SGC
right,
there either.
right, but we know it's not the same alternate reality, which gets
Mhm.
confirmed later because Daniel reminds us that in the alternate reality he was in last time, Sam is dead.
Right, right.
So it can't be the same one. But yeah, like the weird thing is that Michael Shanks is the most recurring the actor with the most different fucking roles on this show. And yet
Yes.
every alternate reality, no Daniel Jackson. So
Oh,
that's
Daniel.
weird.
That's
Um,
fine.
and they're like, yeah, but just like let's skip to the good part here. In our reality, the goal just took over the world. Yay.
Not great. Yeah.
No. Yeah. So then all of SG-1 is like watching the interrogation tape of me and I skipped so many words in that sentence when I wrote it. Like I
You
know what I
did. It sounded like you were skipping some words.
yeah, no, I wrote, this is literally what I wrote. All of SG-1 is watching the interrogation tape of Major Carter is freaked out. Because in my brain, I was saying they were watching the tape of Sam and Sam is freaked out. But once I wrote Sam's
Mhm.
name, then I didn't need to continue, I guess. So
Sure.
sure, that's how that works. They're watching this tape of Dr. Carter, who is like losing her shit about how nobody knows what's going on and she needs to talk to somebody. And Sam, our Sam, is like, this is so weird.
Right.
I hate this. Um,
It's got to be like super uncomfortable. Like
right.
you're just watching yourself saying all these things that are not you.
And then Daniel's like, yeah, well, like it can't be the reality I was in. This is when he tells us that can't be
Mhm.
the same reality he was in. So he doesn't even know where they are in this other reality.
Right. But
Um,
also in that first reality, weren't Sam and Jack together then too?
yeah, but Daniel never told them that
Oh yeah.
because it was weird and awkward, and he didn't want to talk about it because Daniel doesn't do well with
Right.
feelings.
Sure. Because I was thinking about it, and I was like, are they just married in every other reality that's not this one? So yeah. Anyways, we'll see in our next 7 reality alternate reality
Yeah,
episodes.
I have so many things to say about
You've had
Sam
so many
and
things to say about Sam and Jack since before we started this podcast. Like yes, I follow. I'm with you.
uh, in this episode particularly, I get to say all the things. Um, but then we find out that Dr. Carter in in the alternate universe, never went into the military. She's the civilian doctor on the mission. And Hammond brings Dr. Carter and Kowalski in for a briefing with the whole team. And Kowalski like flips his shit when he sees Teal'c. And Daniel tries to like calm him down, but he doesn't know who the fuck Daniel is either. So
I was
like
like, who are you?
it's like everyone is losing their mind for a minute.
Right.
And then
That's so
like
funny.
the two Sams see each other and get like really weird and like judgy about each other's hair. And
Judgy
like
about hair, judgy about positions. Like,
right. And like Dr. Carter is like nice hair and Major Carter is like Air Force. And she's like, ew, why would you be in the military? And she's like, ew, why would you not be in the military? Like it's
yeah.
so it's
Yes.
so weird.
That is
Um
basically verbatim what happened.
and they have like oh, and then they have like a minor tiff. Like it just gets worse because like she's like, oh, these are all the things that are really weird about your universe. And our Sam is like, well, all these things that you just said are weird about our universe are pretty much basically the reason why our universe is the only one that isn't invaded by Goa'uld. And she's like, are you saying that my universe is dead because I didn't join the military? She's like, yes. Like, no, but also yes.
Right. She's like, not specifically, but like it definitely factors in.
Right.
Like,
Um, and then
okay.
and then fake Sam is just like, okay, well, whatever. Kowalski and I are gonna stay.
Yeah, we live here now.
Yeah. And she's like, and if you say no to us wanting to be here, then I don't know any of you. And Jack's like, no shit, you literally don't know any of
You
us.
literally don't know any of us, right?
And that she does not take that very well.
No.
So the briefing's over. Hammond says that he'll talk to his superiors, whatever. Um, and then in the corridor, Sam like tries to apologize to fake Sam, and she like gets like really like teenage girl, but also psychobabble at the same time. She's like, "There's no need to apologize. I'm the one who's clearly suffering from inferiority here." And I'm like, "What?"
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, okay, Sam, calm down.
Um, and she's like, I had 6 months like to prepare for the Goa'uld coming and I couldn't stop them and you guys did it with no warning. So like clearly I'm not good enough. And then she goes to her quarters and she takes a picture out of her jumpsuit and it's her wedding picture of her and Jack and she just starts crying and it becomes very obvious that all of her like emotional bullshit is not because she's not as smart as Sam, it's because she's having a very hard time dealing with Jack being there.
Grieving. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, oh, okay. Well, I understand it a little bit better now.
Right.
I mean, not that I didn't know that that was totally where that was going, but it was like,
Sure, of course. I didn't realize that he was like dead, but I knew that they were together in another universe and she was weirded out by that.
right.
So,
Also, like the idea of like how fresh dead, that was not
yeah,
like,
I didn't get that either.
Like everybody's weird about Kowalski being there, but Kowalski died 4 years ago in our universe.
Right.
We find out in about 5 minutes that Jack died 3 days ago in theirs. So that's a lot more.
A lot more to deal with.
Correct.
And also, like, they've seen Kowalski since, and at least Jack has. Like, when he had that, like, recurring loop with Kowalski.
Yeah, that was in the Gamekeeper. He had the recurring loop, and Kowalski was there. And then Kowalski was Daniel saw Kowalski in the alternate universe.
Yeah.
So they both. I mean, it's weird, but they both had way more time. Like they've all had way more time to like process that.
Yeah, and they like now realize.
And also, none of them were. Yeah, and also none of them were boning Kowalski. So
true. I mean, we don't know 100%. It never said that they weren't. But probably not.
Yeah, I can't imagine any of our core four. Mostly because we know that they clearly take their military relationships seriously, and also the two non-military are married men. So
okay, look.
I'm not saying married. I'm not saying married men couldn't be boning another man. Like I'm not.
That's a good reason for Tilk. That is not a good reason for Daniel Jackson.
Valid.
He does not understand what it means to be married. I forgot about Shara Aiken until just now. So like, it's just another day in the life.
Oh. Ugh. But so Hammond gets word from his superiors, aka the president, that they can stay, but he just has like a weird gut feeling that this is the wrong choice. Yeah. He's like, I don't know why, but it just sits weird with me. I don't like it. I'm not gonna kick him out, but I don't like it. And Jack's like, okay, like, well, should I go tell him? And he's like, yeah, I guess that's the correct thing to do.
I guess that's the next step. Yeah.
Right. So Jack goes to like tell fake Sam that she's staying and she's crying and it's Jack, so he does not know what to do.
He doesn't know what to do with the emotions, no.
And he's like trying to help her. And then he sees the picture. And he gets even more awkward than he previously was.
Yeah.
And she like tells him everything about how they were married and how recently he died and everything. And she's like, oh, before he even sees the picture, she is like, it's so hard to see you here. It's so hard for there to be another me here, but also you don't even see her that way, do you? And he doesn't answer.
Mm-hmm. I noticed.
He's like, oh, so I guess in that other world we were, Yeah, so Jack, that's clearly what she's saying. Right. But I do check it in the win column that he does not respond to how he feels about Sam.
Correct. I too noticed that.
And she's like, I'm sorry for making you uncomfortable. He's like, I'm not really uncomfortable. I'm just really easily confused. And this is a lot. My favorite thing about season 3 of Stargate is the number of times that Jack admits that he is not very bright.
That he has no idea what's going on ever. Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
He's like, let's be honest. I'm just here for the guns, man. Like, I don't know what to do with these science words that you are saying. to me.
Yeah. Just leave the team.
Um, and she like starts talking about their anniversary dinner and like how the food was on the table still and like they had to go save the
So
world
sad.
and she's like, you just blew out the candles and I turned off the oven and we left and like she's like the gold didn't take over Colorado City, so like their food's still probably on the table. And I was like, it is too early in the morning for me to have these
Right?
feelings.
I was like, Sam, stop. Stop. We're not having this.
And then he like tries to comfort her, but he's Jack. And she just goes, I know you well enough to know that you have no idea what to say right now. And I'm like, uh, anyone who's met him for more than 5 minutes knows him well enough to know that he doesn't know what to say right now. But valid.
You're not wrong.
Right.
It's just not as intense as you think it is.
And then so then he like just kind of hugs her and she cries some more. And then he leaves her quarters and Sam goes like our Sam is walking down the hall and she's like, I was gonna go talk to Dr. Carter and he's like, probably don't do that right now.
Yeah. It's
And
like, maybe
then
not the time.
right. And then there's like a moment where Jack just like is clearly affected by everything that fake Sam said about him and Sam. And so he like goes to ask her a question and he's like, how are you feeling, like how are you doing with all of this? And she just goes, do you have a few hours? And he's like, yeah, okay. And she is like, oh god, no, that was the answer, like no, I don't, I'm not prepared to talk about this right now. And he was like, okay. And I was like,
Poor Jack.
it was so awkward. You both spent so
Oh,
long pretending you don't have feelings that you don't know what to do.
it was so
And like not just that they have not just been pretending they don't have feelings for each other, they've both just been pretending they don't have feelings, point blank
feelings
period.
in
Right?
general. Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Um I literally wrote because military Sam doesn't share feelings. And then fake Sam. The number of times that I wrote like our Sam, fake Sam, and like it just like I just changed. Sometimes I wrote Dr. Carter and Major Carter, but I just
Change
was like my
designation.
Sam, fake Sam, that Sam. Like I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Um, but then so fake Sam starts having weird convulsions. And so she's in the hospital and Janet tells the rest of the team that like she cannot figure out what on earth is happening to
Her
Sam.
face is trying to escape.
Correct. It's weird looking, very weird. And at first I thought it was like one of like a special effects weird thing, but then based on like everyone's reaction in the infirmary, they were like also seeing it.
Right, right.
And so then the two Sams um put their brains together, which goes back to a line that Sam or that Jack had said to Hammond earlier about how the world would be and like the whole globe would just be an entire IQ point smarter if there were two Sams in the world. And I was like, because he's not in love with her, it's fine.
Right, exactly, of course. Yeah.
But so the two Sams like put their brains together and explain to everyone that it's like a temporal side effect of the reality jumping and like that her literally like her cells are basically like decaying. And Kowalski's like, why isn't it happening to me then? And like, also, why didn't it happen to Daniel when he did it? And Sam's like, well,
Right.
because in both of and for both of you, you went into a reality where you were dead in that reality.
Right.
That is not
They
gonna.
explained a lot of stuff really well.
They
That
did.
like I feel like there's like, oh, let me plan this backwards from what we've
Yeah.
already released. Like they did well with that.
No, they did, and they did well with it not feeling like overly convenient. Like
Yeah.
oh, like we can just write those things away because we already said them here. Like it felt genuinely like that legitimately scientifically makes sense and you're not retconning your previous episodes.
Right.
Right. Um, and like Sam, the Dr. Carter says that she thought that it would probably, that she knew that it would probably happen, but that she thought it would be like weeks or months, not
Yeah.
days.
Or minutes.
Right. Well, we do find out it was 2 days after she got there.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. So she's been there a couple days, and it's just now it's starting to happen, and it's as bad as it is because our Sam is still alive.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way to save her is to send her back, but that also means sending her to the Goa'uld, which is not an ideal situation.
Like, she might die in both of these realities.
Correct.
Real bummer.
So Daniel's like, well, we should just like save the other reality. They kind of owe it to us, or we kind of owe it to them.
We kind of owe it to them, yeah.
And to be fair,
easy fix, no problem.
To be fair, I obviously appreciate that they did good storytelling. Our heroes are good guys. In what fucking universe do they owe them shit?
Right.
Like, like, no, of course Daniel's going to be like, no, we have to do this. Like, that is so on brand.
Right.
But the we owe it to them narrative is weird because they haven't done anything for you.
They don't even know them. Like technically they know them because they're them. But like
but
they
yeah, like
actually know them.
Right. So they start discussing all the ways that could possibly save them, and they're like, I think when it's gotten this far and this bad and they're this close to destruction, the only way to save them is to contact the Asgard. Which is amazing. And also, I love just in a theoretical point of view, because like what the Asgard tells Jack is that the reason that that they're even like communicating with the humans is because the humans like showed their ability to like be on point or like on par with the technology of the Asgard. And in the alternate universe, they haven't found the Asgard at all, like even a little bit. So then like just like contacting them out of nowhere like shows the same like intellectual level that Thor was impressed with. So I was like, okay, on all of these fronts, I agree with this plan.
Right.
And Kowalski just like is like permission to enter the briefing, and they're like, yeah, sure. And he's like, okay, if this is what we're gonna do, like I'm gonna have to go help and blah blah blah. And they're like, well, what? Like you don't have to do that. And he's like, well, I'm not gonna let her go alone. She's my best friend's wife. And everybody just like looks at Jack, and it gets real awkward. And Jack's just like, okay, so you're coming with us.
They were so weird. This episode was so funny.
Yeah. And so Teal, they're like, they're like, okay, well, Teal can go and like pretend to be other Teal and get the Jaffa like distracted. And Sam's like, no, like you can't do that because then you'll have the same temporal blah 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 disease that I can't say that is happening to Dr. Carter. And Teal'c, well, first of all, Jack is complimenting Daniel's military strategy, which is the first time that's ever happened.
Right, of course. Yeah.
And then second of all, Teal'c just like matter-of-factly goes, Dr. Carter did not show any symptoms until 48 hours after being in our universe, and if our mission has not succeeded in 48 hours, I will be dead anyway.
Correct.
Valid. So they split up, and the two Sams and Jack are working on fixing the Asgard dialing device, and Daniel and Kowalski are working on reopening the mirror and figuring out how to get to the correct alternate universe. And then both Sams are like in conjunction explaining science to Jack, and he loses his mind. Because I think it is bad enough for him that Sam is so much smarter than him, but to have like the echo of it, like, and also he just, for a guy who like is in the military and does like scientific work for the military and is also like an astronomer for fun, he fucking hates science. It is like weird.
Yeah.
Um,
Very strange.
so then Teal'c suits up for them to go into the mirror, and he is mad uncomfy because he hates wearing his Jaffa clothes.
Yeah.
Um, and Jack, Daniel, Kowalski, and Teal'c and Dr. Carter go through the mirror. The only person who doesn't is
It's
Sam, which I get. And I think it's because Dr. Carter was already having temporal like cell issues, so they thought that maybe it would happen to our Carter faster because they were
right.
already
That's
like
what I thought.
connected.
Yeah.
That would be the only thing that would make sense because obviously Jack doesn't have to worry about it because in that universe Jack is dead. It is
Dead.
Kowalski's
Right.
universe. They don't even know who Daniel is, so even if he's in that universe, he's far enough removed that it won't happen quickly. And Teal doesn't care.
And doesn't. Yep, correct.
So I get it, but I also was like, this is just a convenient way to not have Sam continue acting as two people for this actiony chunk of this episode.
Look, that's yeah, it is, and it's very smart.
Right.
I would have done the same thing.
uh, and they get there and they find the other Teal like running things for Apophis and like getting everything ready for Apophis to take over the world. And so they distract bad Teal'c and like separate him from everyone else. And then our Teal'c just fucking kills himself. Like,
yeah, like no question.
and Jack's like, I thought we were gonna zat him. And he was like, I've already told you, our reality is the only one of consequence. I was like, that's not what we decided, I thought.
No, I don't think that was discussed, but okay.
I mean, they did have a discussion about which reality is the true reality.
Well, of course. I mean, you're going to, but
But I don't think we ever decided that the alternate realities were meaningless.
right. That is a different conversation.
Right. So then Teal'c takes Sam as a fake prisoner and allows Jack and Kowalski time to get the like device set up. And they leave Daniel in a closet to go back to searching for the correct reality on the mirror. And we find that Apophis is like brutally attacking Fake World Hammond for information. And he leaves Teal'c in charge, and Teal'c dismisses all the Jaffa so that he and Sam can free Hammond.
Yeah.
And then we go to Kowalski and Jack, who are like working on getting the device ready for Sam. And Kowalski starts bugging Jack about like his Sam. And he's like, like what is it like with the two of you in your universe? And Jack's like, well, in my universe, she's in the military. And he's like,
Right.
whatever. I know it's against regulation, but like, you guys look good together. And Jack's like, in your universe, do they not have part of your training being silence?
Yeah.
And I was like, that is the most creative way to tell somebody to shut the fuck up I have ever heard.
And it's like the most Jack way of saying it.
Correct.
But like, for sure.
But like, Kowalski's like, I see it. I know you don't see it, but I see it. And I was like, I do too.
Same fees.
So then they get the device powered up, and Teal'c helps Sam get through the gate, and Apophis is like pretty angry.
I mean, yeah. Kind of an understatement.
And Jack and Kowalski, once the device is ready, they like run back to go to the mirror so that they can get ready to go back and get Jack and Daniel and Teal'c back to the correct reality. And they find Daniel completely ambushed by the Jaffa, which is, not good.
Not shocking.
Yeah, not
Also
shocking.
not good.
So then they're all five lined up. All five of our living men here are lined up on the ground being interrogated by Apophis about what is going on. And they zat Hammond and he is all shocked and whatever. And Jack is like, I'm gonna go ahead and guess in this universe, two is killed also. And then people will they're still not answering Apophis' question. So the Jaffa just kill Hammond.
Right, just right there. Just go ahead.
And Jack and Kowalski lose their fucking minds about it.
Yeah. I mean, well, like he's dead, dead. Like
Yeah,
this is his universe too.
right. Um, and then they stun Daniel, and they're about to shoot Daniel a second time. Oh, Jaffa run in and are like, there is another ship coming. And as they're trying to make preparations for what to do with this other ship, the Asgard like retractor beam just comes and takes Apophis.
Yeah. Just like you're like, oh, all right, well that's a way to do it.
And so all of the Jaffa run away in fear. And they like panic exit SGC. And so um the four guys are left being like, what? That? And then the Asgard retractor beam also pulls Hammond up.
Hmm.
And it sends Sam back down, and she's like, "I'm at the Asgard," and she's like all nerdy and excited. And Jack's like, "Yeah, we know."
We know who you
Um,
are.
but then they also send Hammond back alive.
Yep. Yep. Didn't
Great,
know that was a thing we were doing, but okay.
great. So everything is, and the Apophysis pyramid and the Jaffa all leave Earth, and we know that Earth is protected in this reality now. Yay.
Yay.
And everyone is saying their goodbyes. And Kowalski and Jack have a moment, and Kowalski and Teal'c have a moment. And then Sam says like goodbye to everybody, and then she starts to like say goodbye to Jack. And it's emotional. And so Jack sends Daniel and Teal'c back through the mirror so they're not standing there. And Sam kisses him goodbye. And two very important things happen when this happens. And the first is that we get a close up on the face of our Sam, who is having very confused feelings about this.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
Most important.
and the second is that fake Sam finally realizes that, like, just because he looks and sounds and acts like her Jack, he isn't. Like, after she kisses him, she's just like, it really isn't you, is it? And that's really sad.
But
But so
he
then Jack,
also, oh yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So then Jack goes back through the mirror and she just
No,
stands there.
before that,
Oh, before he leaves.
he says, how could you marry such a loser?
Oh, that yes. She's like, he looks like you, he sounds like you, like everything about you is my Jack. And he goes, well, then that begs the biggest question, why did you marry such a loser? And it's adorable. But yeah, so after they kiss and everybody feels weird about it, he goes back into our reality. And instead of ending on anything that's happening in our reality, the episode ends on fake Sam just standing there crying, and it is so sad.
Oh, it's so weird.
Um, and that is the end of the episode. So of
Yes.
course we will never see these people ever again. Because that is how this show works. It sets us
Right.
up for weird feelings and then says LOL JK.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Do we have trivia? We do.
Ooh.
Uh, in this episode, um, So in this episode where the two Samantha Carters are conversing about the generator, they refer to it as having being designed by and built by the Asgard. But this is wrong because the design is actually from the ancient database that was absorbed by Colonel O'Neill, who built the generator when he lost his ability to speak English and prior to his trip to the Asgard homeworld and have the ancient knowledge removed from his mind. So the thing that Jack brought back or made
Yeah.
was actually from the ancients, not the Asgard. So
Got it.
This is the second episode to feature the Sam and Jack love theme. First being when Daniel went through the mirror in the first time, and there but the grace of God.
And also, don't forget when they almost froze to death in the cave.
No, but the music, the Sam and Jack love theme, like there's a background music that plays for them. There's like yeah, like there's a musical piece called like this like that it plays in the episodes where they are like smoochy.
I thought you meant like story theme.
I mean, to be fair, that this is only the second time that they outright have feelings for each other. Like there's been other times where it's like very clear that there's something bigger there, but these are the only two where it's been outright, and these are the only two where the musical piece was played.
So funny. I'm gonna have to go like listen to just the musical piece. Maybe we can like
if I can find it, yeah. The alternate Apophis has a goatee like the evil Spock in Star Trek the original series.
Love that.
Oh, in the opening shot, when the camera pans through the warehouse, the first item that it shows is the virtual reality pod from the Gamekeeper.
Okay. I didn't catch all of that.
Oh, and this is the first appearance of the pain stick, the thing that they were using to like electric prod General Hammond in the alternate universe when the Jaffa were like torturing him, that like electric stick. It's called the Rod of Anguish, and this is the first time we see it in the series.
That is a very accurate title.
Yeah, it is a common torture tool used by the Goa'uld that will reappear.
Hate that.
There's there's one continuity thing that's weird, and that is that in the opening scene when we see Sam and Kowalski coming through the mirror, we can hear what they're saying on the other side, but then every other time that we see both sides of the mirror, you can't hear the inside of the mirror. And I know that was just a way to make that opening scene happen.
Sure.
But it does not make sense.
It does not. You're correct. I'm trying to see if they have the love theme, because they have a lot of Stargate music on here.
Yeah, of course, because it's a million episode long show with constant music in the background.
What is Stargate
I found
Conflict?
It. Nope. What? Don't worry. You can't look things up. I have the music. I found it on YouTube.
It's a game. I was looking on Spotify.
Oh, okay. I found it on.
It had a cover. Look.
Oh.
Is it a game?
Oh, it must be a video game. I did find it on YouTube. It is not going to be on Spotify because it was technically never released on any of the soundtracks, according to these YouTube lists that I found it.
Great.
But it does exist, and there is sheet music for it. So
we should play it.
Yeah, well, when we are not
do a cover of it and release on our YouTube.
Let's do it. I don't know how to. I mean, I don't know what instrument I would play it on, because my piano playing skills are not that great, and my guitar playing skills even worse. So, but yeah. So speaking of things that are not great, who do you want to punch in the face?
Oh, Apophis.
Fair.
He's back. I get to punch him again. I always want to punch him. So.
He has a very punchable face.
Yeah.
Um, I think I guess like alternate world Teal'c.
Fair, fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, he should be punched too. You're correct.
Oh my gosh, sorry. I just thought of something that I didn't write a note about that it was amazing. After like the 15th conversation with alternate world Jaffa happening, Daniel or Jack just looks at Daniel and goes, "What does cream
What's
mean?"
yeah.
And Daniel's like, "Well, it means like a lot of things." And he like explains all these things, and Jack just goes, "Oh, so it's just you."
Yeah. He's like, yeah, I guess.
Right. Checks out. Um, yeah, so I'm gonna punch alternate world Teal'c because like nobody else really deserves to get punched.
Right. Fair, fair.
So who's your MVP?
I mean, obviously it's Jack.
Obviously, it's Jack.
So, uh, just for all of the reasons, all of them.
Makes sense. Um, that reminds me of the fact that I told Dan's mom that I was gonna be meeting Richard Dean Anderson, and she just like because I was telling his brother too, and she just like looked at me and she was like, "Is that?" I go, "MacGyver, yes." And she was like, "Oh, I get it." And I was like, "Yeah, Kathy, everyone your age gets it. People my age do not."
I get it. I
I know
get
you
it.
do. It's,
I'm coming
but
back to
yeah.
the old days of yore.
Oh God, Richard Dean Anderson. Um, I think I my MVP will have to be uh Kowalski
Oh, I mean,
for coming around to Teal'c and for prodding Jack in the right direction and for like also for like sticking through with Sam even though his Jack is dead and like being like, no, that's not what you do. You're with your best friend's like wife. You're there for her. Like, fuck that. Like, I was like, all of the reasons. Kowalski is,
all of the reasons.
and also he was just funny as shit in this episode.
So funny, so funny. Yes.
Yeah.
Ugh, it was a
So
good one.
it was a good one. I really like this episode. Um I thought I was gonna say something else, but I wasn't. I don't know what I just did. My brain turned off. Um, but you can find us on all the social media at deathandaliens@gmail.com, or that's our email. The social media is just deathandaliens. You can follow me everywhere at ENKAY_superstar.
And you can find me at CE Cloud 13.
And just a fun tidbit. I think I want to like be like spoiler for the next episode, but not really a spoiler. The next episode of our podcast. If you think that you know anything about
Oh,
who in Bates Motel I would ever punch in the face, you have to watch the next episode because I can guarantee you're not going to know what's going to happen with me.
I'm
That's my
excited. That makes
that's
me excited.
that's my tune in next time. It's a little treat.
I
All
love
right.
it. I love it. All
All
right.
right. Well, we will see you on Thursday. Bye.